going to show you now how to make a simple and effective snake fly mount using some good rod butt leader, 25 pounds, a gate latch needle, a small little gate here, and flicks it open and closed. Okay, so that flicks open and closed. There we are. A treble of any size really that you like for a sea trout. I think this one is a 10. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is take some of your goob rod. Just going to clip it off, put it to one side, and using the gate latch needle I'm going to go into the core of the braid. I'm going to push it up, push it out the side, loop around and pull it back in. So first and foremost, get the hook into the centre of the braid and then start gently feeding it up the braid. Now this can be a little bit tricky. Until you're used to doing it, it can be a little bit tricky. Okay, so once I get this started, okay, and then you just open up and gradually push down on the braid like so. Okay, now after you've got so much along, say ½ an inch, push the whole of the pin through, and you can see now there's the end of the gate latch needle, there's the end of my braid, and that's the bit that it's going to be pulled back through. So what I do, I just take it nice and gently, feed it the braid through the hook, and then slowly push the braid back up. Now the problem we have here is that this little eye that you're making, little eye there, if you pull it through, you can just pull everything through all in one go. Okay, so what I suggest you use, and in this case I'm going to use a mounted needle, you put it through, and this gives you something to work against. And what I do is pull that back through, and what you'll see now is that I've got a little loop on the end of my braid. If I take that out, it's very small, but you want really to make it a little bit bigger. So what you can do is just trap it and just work the bit that you've pulled through, pull it back a little bit, and now you've got a much bigger hole. As you can see, it's all hidden inside there. Now I like to be a little bit more secure with this, so you can use any sort, but I use UV Wader Repair by Loon. You can use Snowbee. If you've got Diamond Hard, you could use Diamond Hard. It's up to you. It's all UV set. And then all I do is just put a little bit where the join is. Using my mounted needle, you can use a different one if you don't want to get one covered with it, but you just work it into the braid. Okay. And then cure it using your UV. In this case I'm using a UV laser. This has a much higher intensity. It does tend to set the glue very, very quickly, and it doesn't really leave it with too much tack. As it's a snake fly mount, you're not particularly worried about that. So that now is the eye we're going to tie your line onto. Now some people have snake flies that big, some people have snake flies only that big. I prefer mine to be around a 2–2.5 inch length. Okay, but this time when we put the braided loop in the end, we're actually going to feed the treble over the braid and into that loop. So first thing I need to do is get the hook back through the braid. Now tip with this is I've got a little mark here on mine, but the tip is, the idea is that you put that there, and that then is a measured length that you're happiest with. So the length that you want to use the most, that length there, That's what you want to use. Okay, so then next time you make another mount, you can make it exactly the same length. So you know that you're always going to get the 2 inches, 2.5 inches, 3 inches, 1.5 inches, whatever it is. If you've got a mark on there, mine's basically where I've crimped it with a pair of pliers, and you'll always get the same size snake mount. Okay, so once again, feed my little hook through the braid, push it up, and once again, like I say, it takes a little bit of time. If you lose the hole, the spot where you're going to put it through, just remeasure and start all over again. I was lucky then, but here we go. So now I'm going to push the hook through, and this is the critical bit. Don't forget this. I have done this many times and forgotten it. Put your hook, if the braid won't go through, if it's frayed, just give it a trim. I like to work with a bit of excess because I just find it easier to do. Okay, so now the hook is right down here, look, by the where the braid comes off at 90 degrees, the gate latch needle. So all I do, push that on there, very carefully push it through, pull it through. You can push and pull these, but very carefully. You want to do it so that it doesn't suddenly shoot out and you end up with a treble hook stuck in the end of your finger. Have been there, painful. So now I've got that trapped, that's the end of the braid. I've got the hook trapped there, and all I need to do now is pull the appropriate one, and it will pull that braid all the way through. So there you have the mount. What I need to do now, and it's just for neatness I do this, I just pull the braid just a little bit down, trim it off, and when you push it back, it hides the end. And again, just a little bit of the UV treatment on there, my needle. Easy way of cleaning a needle off after you've done this is just to zap the remnants on there and scrape it off. You can just wipe it off, it all depends how you want to do it. But that there. And now my laser pointer, and just give it a nice going over with the laser. And that there is your finished snakefly mount. Relatively quick. Takes a while to get used to using the needle. And these are quite critical. You can get them in all different sizes. You can get very big ones, very small ones. And you have to work which one you're going to use with your braid. I've got a much bigger one here. As you can see, hopefully, you'll see that that one's much bigger. Consequently, that wouldn't go through this little braid. So you have to get the appropriate one for your braid. I like 25-pound braid. It's very, very strong, obviously, but also it's quite soft, gives the fly plenty of movement in the water. So that is a quick and easy way of making a snake fly mount.